But collectively, 100-year storms, 100-year floods, 100-year droughts, 100-year forest fires, I mean, something is very dangerously happening with the weather.
And do those climate change deniers?
Well, they realize that something is happening with the weather. They admit that now. However, they disagree about human activity.
All right, welcome to Give Me Five, folks. What you're watching on CBS there, or what was on CBS there, was Michio Kaku, who's a science contributor to CBS, and Norah O'Donnell. What do you say to those deniers? They're deniers. And, of course, the denier term comes from those who deny the Holocaust. And now it's been, transferred to people who don't believe in global warming and that it's man-made, okay? Deniers. What do you say to deniers? But it gets worse. Charlie Rose, who's on that same show on CBS, also, of course, we pay his salary on PBS, like we do so many left-wing radical broadcasters. And he had on a professor from from Princeton University, Michael Oppenheimer, who had predicted, among other things, in 1995, that the river of Nebraska, the Platte River of Nebraska, would be dry. There'd be food riots in the streets of the United States. But that doesn't count, that he was dead wrong and an alarmist and a nut, in my opinion. They invite him back and treat him with all the deference and respect of an expert. Watch.
It's my impression, you are much closer, all of you are much closer to this than I am, that even some people who are climate deniers because they're hung up about the man-made aspect of it are looking at the consequences, are looking at what's happening in the Arctic and are saying, yes, something is going on.
See? Another. Deniers. Deniers. That's done purposely to marginalize anyone like me who doesn't agree with these people. Now, the Earth hasn't warmed in 20 years. We just had the coldest winter on record, but we got global warming. And if you don't believe it, you're a denier. This is scary stuff. Scary stuff. Watch this.
Every time one of these reports comes out, you convince a few more people who are dyed-in-the-wool opponents. But there's going to be a hardcore who are never going to cede on this, and there are complex reasons for that. With some people, they just like to stand away from the crowd. With some people, it's economic self-interest. The point is, you can't wait for everybody to agree.
Okay, can't wait for everybody to agree. You got to do what we say, because we're right. Forget the meteorologists, the scientists, the climatologists by the thousands that disagree. No, 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 no. They're deniers. We have to move ahead because we are right. Says who? Now, this is a guy that in his book said by 1995, the greenhouse effect would be desolating the heartlands of North America and Eurasia with horrific drought causing crop failures and food riots. And Al Gore had said the seas will rise by now. Actually, about 5 years prior to now. None of this has happened. But we're the deniers, and they're the smart people who are right, and we're wrong, and we're the radical nutjobs, and they're correct. Wow. Here's another one.
You know, the climate change that we're experiencing now is essentially baked in. That is, we can't do much about what's going to happen over the next 10 or 20 years, no matter what we do on emissions, except try to protect ourselves, try to have better coping and adapting mechanisms. But if we don't act now on reducing emissions a lot, there's going to be hell to pay for particularly the next generation. This is our kids we're talking about.
Yeah, our kids. Hell to pay. He's already predicted hell. He already had predicted that hell would be here with food riots in the streets 20 years ago, in 1995, by 1995. So this guy is a piece of work. And again, welcome to PBS, where we pay the salaries of Charlie Rose to put on people like this, to call people like me and maybe like you names and deniers and sound the trumpet, the false alarm on the end of the world. And how do we solve that? If we just raise taxes on everybody, make it prohibitive to use energy, make it prohibitive for businesses to be in business, and that's their utopia. That's their utopia. Don't buy it. Steve Malzberg Show, right here on Newsmax Television.
The Steve Malzberg Show.